if you happen to submit a fake or a false bank statement, you can be banned to up to 5 years from entering into Italy or anywhere in the EU. So you guys really have to be careful. Hi guys, I hope you guys are doing well. Okay, so today I want to talk about some of the mistakes to avoid with your proof of funds, because I did make a video on proof of funds. I think I'll link it here or here, and a number of you kept asking me questions regarding that, so I thought of like doing this follow-up video to talk about some of the mistakes for you to avoid. So before I talk about the 4 mistakes to avoid with your proof of funds, I want to first of all talk about the fact that the proof of funds goes beyond just your living expenses and the cost of your tuition. It includes the cost of your coming into Italy. The travel cost also is included. So I know a number of you are all around, you just want to, you're calculating just the living expenses and the cost of your tuition, but then you also have to include this as well. And then the other thing to also include is the currency fluctuation. You guys know, like if you're from Nigeria, from Ghana, like anywhere in Africa, due to currency fluctuation, today you can have the currency against the euro like this, and tomorrow it's up, the next is down. So you also have to take into consideration, you have to take that into consideration and ensure you have like more amount of money in your account, so that should it happen that the process delays a bit, the amount in your account do not reduce due to currency fluctuation. So I had to put that out there. And what I want to tell you guys is studying abroad takes a lot. It takes a lot of preparation. It takes a lot. You have to prepare in advance. Okay, so most of the time, the money needed, the documents needed, the research that needs to be done about the university, about the city where you'll be living in, all of that needs to be done beforehand, before you even apply to the university, so that you're well prepared. One other thing I also wanted to talk about is the type of funds that are accepted as proof of funds. You got me. So many of you are only thinking about cash, so many of you are worried about, I don't have cash in my account, my dad doesn't have cash in their account and all of that. But then, is cash the only form of proof of funds, like to show your proof of funds? Obviously no. Okay, bonds are accepted, stocks are accepted, treasury bills are accepted. All of these forms are accepted as proof of funds. The only thing you have to ensure is you have to ensure that this form of funds are liquidable. You have to find a way to prove that you can access these funds at the time of your studies. Before you leave, before you move from Ghana, before you move from Nigeria, wherever you're coming from, to Italy, you just have to prove that you can access these funds by the time of your studies. So cash is not the only form of the only way to show your proof of funds. So I just had to put that out there as well. So with that out of the way, let us talk about some of the mistakes to avoid with your proof of funds. The first mistake I really want to talk about is fake or false bank statements. You heard me. A student was busted in the UK, some were busted in Canada. I'm going to do a story time on that. But then, presenting a fake or a false bank statement is going to go against you. And I'm going to tell you why you need to ensure that whoever you are reaching out to help you, help you find a way around your proof of funds, you need to be sure that the document that the person is giving to you these documents are real. They are real documents. Because if you submit it, when the consequences come, it's you that's going to face the consequences. If you happen to submit a fake or a false bank statement, you can be banned to up to 5 years from entering into Italy or anywhere in the EU. So you guys really have to be careful. It's not only with bank statement, but then with your certificates, like any of those kind of stuff, your sets from your uni, any document at all you're submitting, if you happen to submit anything that is false, you can be banned from entering into the EU, and it's going to affect you. So you guys, you really have to be careful, because I've seen a number of students reaching out, please, can you help me with my proof of funds? Like, there are a number of agents that are claiming to be able to help you get your proof of funds for studies. And then what you have to be like, I'm not too trusting of those agents, because what you have to realize is the fact that if this document happen to be false, it's going to affect you, the student. It's you that's going to be in danger. So you really have to be careful. So what you have to do is you have to ensure that you submit genuine document, genuine bank statement, genuine certificate, anything in relation to your studies. You have to ensure that those are genuine documents. And then one thing I also want to put out there is, like, take your time. If you don't have any documents yet, if you don't have your account built, you don't have enough finances for your proof of funds, take your time. Even if you've gotten an acceptance letter from the university, it does not necessarily mean if you don't meet other requirements to be enrolled in the university, you need to force it. You don't need to find a fake document just to be able to go and study. You can do it another time. You can do it next year, obviously. So I just wanted to put that out there. The next mistake I also want to talk about is depositing large amounts of money. A student left in the comment section, and some also were asking me on Instagram, if you knew that you'll be studying in Italy or any country at all, you should be preparing. But things do happen. But then, the only thing I want to talk about is depositing large amounts of money in your account without proper explanation can raise doubts in the visa officer's mind. They could think the amount is not yours, and then you're just putting it there just to be able to prove that you meet the requirements and you have the financial means to study abroad. So any huge type of funds at all, you need to find the means. If it's impossible, if you don't have any other way to, like, the time has already reached and you have the money and you want to deposit, fine, but then ensure that you can prove the reason why you're depositing that large amount of money. That is what I would say. A whole lot of things comes into play when you're applying for visa, and then if the visa officer's mind is not settled on anything at all, it could cost you a whole lot. The next thing I also want to talk about, the next mistake for you to avoid as well, is your inability to explain your source of funds. It's not really spoken about a lot, but I want to put that out there. If you're sponsoring yourself, you need to be able to prove how you were able to come about such money. Are you working? How much are you paid? If you are paid like maybe 1 million naira, if you are paid 100,000 naira, if you are paid 10,000 cedis, how were you able to raise that amount of money? And then they are going to check the period, because you're going to submit your bank statement. So they're going to check how you were able to raise that amount of money, and they are going to check the time frame. So you have to be able to prove the source of your funds. That's very, very important. If your parents are the ones sponsoring you, obviously whoever is sponsoring you also needs to be able to prove the source of their funds. In as much as it's important to have the required amount of money in your account, it's also important for you to be able to show the source of your funds. You have to. It's very, very important. Then the last thing I really want to talk about is withdrawing money from your account immediately. It's either immediately you get your visa, or sometimes the visa process do take long. Okay, you have to realize that when you submit your bank statement to the embassy and all of that, when the process do take long, sometimes the embassy can come back and ask you for an updated proof of funds. So if you submitted your visa processing like probably this April or maybe in June, and then you had 2 million naira in it, and the embassy come back to you and you're like, can we get an updated proof of funds? And then they see that maybe the amount has reduced significantly. They are going to want to find out why the amount have reduced, because what you presented to them is not what you have in your account now, and that is like a form of fraudulent activity, and you can be in trouble for that as well. So basically, aside from you being rejected, sometimes they can also see it as fraudulent activity. So obviously what you have to ensure is that you do not withdraw like immediately from the account, and then during the period where you have applied for the visa and you're waiting on the visa, you don't have to touch the money in your account. You do not have to touch the money in your account. And then when the embassy do reach out to you for an updated bank statement, you should be able to provide. It's very, very important. These are the 4 mistakes to avoid with your proof of funds. I hope this was really helpful. Let me know in the comments if this was helpful. And then if you have any question at all, if there's anything you want me to talk about, leave it in the comments and I'm going to talk about that. So I'm wishing you guys the very best. Most of you have gotten your acceptance letter from the universities, and some of you are doing pre-enrollment, some of you are sorting out what you need to get and all of that, and I'm wishing you guys the very best. So that is it for today's video. And if you're not following me on Instagram, I'll leave my handle here. Do follow me on Instagram, and you can send all your questions there, or you can send it to my email, which is always going to be in the about section of my channel. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.